Boom. Pow. Kablamo.
This is this is just so you know. Once again, I have intention with my appearance on World's Greatest Dad. This is a rather new purchase. Some dads, maybe like you're like me, you don't buy lots of clothes all the time. It's a big deal. It's a big event. Went to this concert. Do you remember Soul Coughing, Neil, or were you like in elementary
I
school? I'm serious. It was
I'm very
97.
young. So, okay, did they do that song Circles?
Yes. Look at
Well,
you.
that's how I know him. There was a radio, maybe it still exists. There's a radio station called WFUV, kind of like folky, hippie. And I remember my dad had this compilation CD, and Circles was on there, and so I got to know. I don't need to walk around in circles, walk
Okay.
around in
So
circles, walk around in circles, walk around
I
in.
think
And that's all I know. That's all I
you
got.
could not have gutted this cool T-shirt more than saying it was on your dad's mix CD. Like you just completely, yeah.
There
Or
was some
your
great stuff
dad's
on there.
very cool.
Hey, come on. My dad liked cool music.
No, you know what? The fact that your dad had a mix CD, yeah, that's a big deal. I couldn't fathom that. I mean, yeah, I can't fathom that. So, you know,
Was your
checkmate.
Were your parents boomers?
My parents were from Bangladesh. I mean, they could have been 30. I mean, it's just a different.
Didn't
I
matter.
mean, I feel like, and it's changed so much, but like, I'm of a generation of children of immigrants who did have the tale of if you only knew, we grew up in the swamp or we walked through 10 miles of snow and and legitimately like if you're talking about rural Bangladesh in the 40s and 50s, that's severe. You know what I mean? And the country apparently has very much transformed with mobile internet, and there's a middle class now and all that stuff. So the funny thing is, too, my understanding of a country and a culture and hardship is so in the past, it's almost like irrelevant, which just speaks to how much the world has changed. But I don't know, I don't know. And then yeah, it's a strange thing. It's a strange thing to think that the stories that my parents talked about are just they might as well have been 100 years ago. Because it's just not the way it is anymore. The world's changed, Neil. And no, they didn't have no mix CD. My dad listened to the radio. The radio. Like he had maybe 5 records. He had a Johnny Mathis record. I will say this: the LP, not a lot of, not a big selection, but he did have like Johnny Mathis. Like some real '70s swing. He had
Did
some
he get
swag.
down? Did he like, would he like sway? Did he hum?
No, no, not at all. What's weird is the record was just like pictures of him from the '70s. You'd be like, who is this man? And the funny thing is when back when my wife and I were dating, and she, came to visit, she would like find these pictures, and she'd be like, "What's going on here?" And I started to look, and I'm like, "Oh, they're just old pictures of my dad." But I'm like, "Yeah, what is going on here?" Like, it looks like he is. You know what I mean? It's weird. I needed some fresh eyes. I needed my wife to look at pictures of my father in the '70s to be like, he was up to no good. I just didn't see it. You know what I mean? I just saw him as a very, the guy who wore 3-piece suits and worked 7 days a week, and did his rounds at the hospital and, yeah, it was like a freaking Republican, like very, wore a tie every day, never wore jeans. But in the '70s, he didn't wear jeans, but he did wear bell bottoms, and he did have. I don't know. I mean, there's definitely some pics of him that were like, yeah. In fact, my wife would even say, "I see where you get it from," and I was like, "Oh my god, did my dad like hang out and party? Who knows? Who knows? It's the '70s, man. It's the '70s."
What's
So
your favorite soul coughing song, Ollie?
okay, real talk. I am a one hit wonder kind of guy. My wife is way more into music than me. She was like, "Hey, let's go to this show." I'm like, "Okay, fine." And literally, I go and I'm like, "Great, I'm having a couple beers. When are they playing Circles?" You know what I mean? Like, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I don't. This is so coughing. They only have a few. They're not. You know what I mean? It's kind of a niche thing. I'm there to go back in time. You know, I'm in college. You know, I'm listening to the CD. It's 1998. You know, that's I'm feeling nostalgic. So yeah, but they of course played Circles. It was a great rendition. What was crazy was when you get to a certain age, bluntly, where you look around and you're like, "Damn, I'm old. I'm old because I'm looking around and these people are old." And on stage, they're really old because they were probably in their 30s. It's not like they came out with Circles. They'd been playing for a while. So it's just a weird kind of shakeup. You're like, wow, I'm old, you know?
Well,
Got my...
I've got a similar experience for you, speaking both musically and chronologically. So, I know we already talked about my birthday, but you know, I turned 40, and the birthday celebrations continued. Some I
Yeah.
was aware about, some I was aware of, some I was not. So I'll tell you, this past Friday, my wife had told me on my birthday. She said, "Oh, and I have a surprise for you. I got you tickets to 90s night at the Brooklyn Bowl. I got you three tickets." And Craig and Chris, who are my friends from high school, they're going to come in and take you. And I was like, "Oh, that's so sweet and so fun." And there's this 90s cover band called Saved by the 90s, or maybe they're called the Bayside Tigers. It's unclear. They're called one or both of those. And I've seen them a number of times. Yes, that's right. Over the last 15 years, I've gotten to kind of time travel back to the 90s, and Greg and Chris came in from New Jersey, from the suburbs in the Tesla, you know, that the self-driving vehicle, you know, to kind of marvel at this very urban metropolitan life their friend is living, you know. And I've known them now for, you know, over 25 years, and they hilariously arrived in matching black polos to Williamsburg. I mean, you know, people are dressed pretty cool. And we go and we have a lovely dinner at Kafar, highly recommend, in the Hoxton Hotel, one of Michael Solomonov's places. You know that guy?
Oh, yeah. I've been to Zaha. Fantastic. I have his cookbook. Yeah. Yeah, huge
Tell me
big
next time
fan.
you're going to be in town. Give me a few months' notice, and we'll try to get a resi for Laser Wolf at 11 p.m.
Yeah. It's pricey, though. Some pricey stuff. Yeah. But yeah, sure.
So,
I'm in.
anyways, it was this whole thing where, you know, where are we going to go first? Are we going to get a drink? Are we just going to go straight to the venue? They insisted, no, we've got to get dinner first. And then, oh, I should say I wore my Toon Squad jersey.
Your
Uh,
what? What's that?
Toon Squad. Ugh, Ollie. Space Jam.
Man, like you really, I mean, like I remember the 90s. I think you're still in it. Like you have soaked up, like you just adored it. Like it's crazy. I mean, I bet Boy Meets World, we've talked about all this too. It all is starting to really come into play. Like
I
I
was
think
the boy. I met the world.
it was your world. That's for damn sure. Bayside Tigers. I get it. I like 90s nostalgia. I was very enamored with the 80s. But the 90s nostalgia hit me well too. It was subtler, but it's there.
Well,
Can't
and it's
complain it.
funny. As we know, I am 40 years old, and someone was telling me their 15-year-old nephew had tickets to an Alice in Chains concert, and I was like, oh my God, that's like, I was like, okay, so what is that? 25 years before me, that would have been like what, me going to like a, I don't know, like a some sort of 60s, early 70s band reunion, you know, like
Steely
going to see
Dan.
the Eagles. I don't know. It
There
was
you
really,
go. Yeah.
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 But so okay, so we walk into Brooklyn Bowl, got the tickets. My wife transferred me the tickets. We walk in, and who's there? My wife, in a Dennis Rodman jersey, and a couple of our couple friends, and they were like, "Oh, surprise!" And it was like, nice." And we all just partied to songs from musical groups, some of the seminal artists of our time, such as Third Eye Blind, the Goo Goo Dolls, Lit, Shania Twain.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I can get you a set list. But and we had a lot of fun. But I'll say it was a bit of a spread age-wise. We were maybe the median, maybe the higher end of age there, and I thought I was looking around and I was like, huh, do all these 20-somethings know this music? That's really
Yeah.
interesting, huh?
That is
Like
weird.
maybe they appreciate it. And then the next day, I was talking to a friend of mine, Dave, who was there and is probably around your age, Ollie. But knows the music. We can connect on the music. And
I
he's
know
like,
the music.
Neil, I was in a '90s cover band, and when I was in high school, and I said, Dave, I think it was just called a cover band when you were.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's true. You would
and
have been.
he said that somebody came up to him and was like, because Dave was wearing like overalls and or something, and he goes, "Who are you going as?" And Dave was like, "I don't." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is a costume party. Here I am, earnestly jumping up and down to like Foo Fighters, and these people are like, it's a drag show. It's just kind of a fun. They're making fun of
Cosplay?
it, Ollie.
Is it like cosplay?
I
I
guess.
mean, I feel like whenever it's a cover band, then you're kind of like, you know what I mean? It's a little different. It's not like you're actually at, like when we went to the Soul Coughing show, no one was trying to dress up like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, hey, it's a time warp. You know what I mean? You're like, oh yeah, I remember this band. Let's check them out. Like right now in present day. I feel like when it's a cover band, it's, dare I say, a little less serious. I think you might appreciate this. What was it? It wasn't the Goo Goo Dolls? Oh man, who sang "Hey Jealousy"? I know you know them.
The
Who
Gin
sang?
Blossoms.
Okay, peak moment, right? This is like 2005. I'm spitballing here. In LA, we just like go like on an afternoon to Hollywood Park to watch the ponies run. Hollywood Park is not elite. It is not going to Kentucky Derby. Okay, it's not even like Santa Anita. It's in Inglewood. It may have been blown up now for now where the Rams play, but it was a place where, it's kind of ghetto, kind of cheap, right? But it's like fun. They still have professional horses, jockeys, and all that. So we're on our way to the car. There's a parking lot immediately outside of the racetrack, and there's music playing. And who was it? Gin Blossoms playing in the parking lot of Hollywood Park. Yeah, dude. Yeah, baby. And I mean Gin Blossom. That CD cost me $20. Blockbuster music. They were peak. That was peak. They were peaking. You
I think
know?
I think they spent it all, Ollie.
Yeah.
I think
I
they spent
mean,
your whole $20.
I feel that feeling. Oh, you might remember this. I don't know though, because this would have been your era, but I don't know if it was your interest. But this was a big thing that happened to me last week on Wednesday. I ended up doing a whole Instagram slide post about really quite a week I had. But the first slide of my post carousel was, did you ever watch any kind of wrestling? WWE.
Are
Aware
you
of that?
asking me?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I had a knowledge of, well, it was WWF. All right, I'm not that young when I
Okay.
was growing up. It was still WWF before the World Wildlife Foundation, ruined that for them.
Sued him. Yeah. Wrong.
And yeah, I mean, I had those like little wrestling buddy stuffed animals of Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man Randy Savage and
Okay, so
the
this would
like.
be after that.
Okay,
There was a wrestler named Mark Henry, the world's strongest man, just this huge dude. He would fight people like Big Show. He may not have been 90s. He may have been in the aughts or whatever. I knew who he was, but I didn't know his era. You know, I wasn't currently watching wrestling. I just knew, oh yeah, look at these crazy guys now. So I'm at a restaurant having lunch with a friend of mine. Now, keep in mind, I did go into the parking lot and I did see this very large vehicle with all kinds of writing, kind of the advertising stuff, and it said Mark Henry, World's Strongest Man. I just thought it was some guy who put that on his car. Like I didn't think,
Huh.
you know, and Mark Henry's gigantic. Okay, so I'm sitting there. Now it's been a few years. Okay, since the YouTube clips that I would show my son, you know, and I'm sitting there, and this man approaches us, and I was like, and he's coming at us like very kind of like, oh, hey. And I'm like, there's no fucking way. Mark Henry, the world's strongest man, quietly, humbly approached me to say hello, asked me to be on his radio show. In fact, I'm writing that guest down. We're going to ask, I wonder if Mark Henry has kids. It was
If
a
he doesn't,
highlight.
who cares?
Who cares?
We'll have him adopt before the next episode.
I'll have him adopt me. Like, it was just phenomenal. I literally, and this all got brought up because of gin blossoms in the parking lot. But
Which
yeah.
do you know that the two things. One, I just saw a headline. It was like one of those Onion type comedy blogs that was like, Gin Blossoms plays 3 hours of Goo Goo Dolls songs just to see if anyone noticed. And you had just confused them, and I was like, oh, that's funny.
Oh yeah,
I do love both of them. I do love both of them.
totally.
Name was got inside my soul.
Dude, you really.
And then 2 years ago, before children, I forced my wife to go join me at the PNC Bank Arts Center in New Jersey to see Ben Folds, Bare Naked Ladies, and Guster. And yeah, this is true. And you know, it was a bit of a sad vibe. And what kind of puts a bow on it was at some point my wife went over to the porta potties and was like, Guster's playing an encore over by the porta potties. And I was like, oh, which, you know, is very sweet. They wanted to give the fans more. It just, I don't know. It felt
I don't
very
recall
dark.
Guster. I don't recall Guster.
You know,
but
they were the least, you know, favorite of mine. I was mostly there to see Ben Folds, huge Ben Folds guy.
yeah, Ben Folds is great.
He's
Ben
the
Folds
best.
is great.
Live, you know, unfortunately. Here's the thing. Sometimes, you know, it's like never meet your heroes, never see your heroes live. Sometimes not so great live.
Very true. Very
He
true.
was okay, but I love his
Yeah.
music. Ray LaMontagne, saw him a couple times. It's like he hates the audience. You're like, are you mad that I'm here?
Yeah. That's the problem with your nostalgia. Is like you can't go back, Neil, even though you really want to.
Hey, here's the thing. You can go back for one night to celebrate your 40th birthday at the Brooklyn Bowl with the Bayside Tigers.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, it's a brilliant name. As I've gotten older, I've revisited more '90s nostalgia. What's funny is some of this music, especially the second half of the '90s, I was not into it all because I was in college and I was in my I'm gonna smoke pot and listen to hippie jam band phase, and also or indie rock. I didn't want anything popular, you know. And now I realize popular is kind of fun, you know, especially in the Spotify era where you're like, oh, just make me a playlist, you know, like, yeah, like I mean, I would be like, I remember at the time I was like, I'm better than K-Rock. Now at 48, I am absolutely right there. I saw Blink 182 play last year. I loved it. I don't know. It's like I just had this rush of being like 22 again. I don't know. It's like maybe I could redo it all, or maybe I'll just have that confidence again. And honestly, that was the thing. That's what held me through watching the entire Soul Coughing show, was just get me to Circles, let me feel like I'm back in 1998, my senior year of college, and I'm just cruising LA, and things were okay, you know? And actually, they weren't okay, but it's a different kind of, it's chasing something different. And who knows, if I could look at myself now, I'd be like, well, that's pretty cool that you did this and that. But now I'm a little disillusioned. I'm like, now I'm really thinking about life as the gin blossoms in the parking lot. And it's scary, you know? Because this is what happens. What happens is, one day Mark Henry leaves the ring. One day Ali Khan is not looking for cheap eats. And they meet up at a barbecue/Jewish delicatessen in East Austin. That was recommended by the Michelin and did receive a James Beard nomination. Excellent food. Excellent food. And, yeah, we will meet. And that was my gin blossoms in the parking lot moment to a degree. At least we were just eating. We weren't working. Mark Henry. Still a highlight. Huge, biggest highlight ever. Just a couple days later, Guy Fieri would show up and shoot an episode there. Yeah, Guy's in town. That's just, breaking news.
Passing, ships in the night of history, culinary history here.
Yeah, he's still going. He's the Energizer Bunny. You could speak to that. You can speak to that more than I.
I won't. I signed an NDA. I've got another story for you. So, additionally, I had a dad's night. This is a dad podcast, I think, right?
I know, but the fact that we're talking about, let's be honest, like, the dad stuff is as much about longing to be young. You know? How about, is that deep? See, we're getting deep. This isn't just, we're not all over the map. I'm not talking about, I don't know, electrical engineering. I'm talking about, I think when dads get together, you're just kind of like, man, remember the before times? You know?
Yeah.
Continue with your story.
So I'm out with these dads. It was very sweet. My friend Chris, not from high school, Dad Chris Sander. Hey, Chris. He goes, "Hey Neil, would you have any interest in seeing a Mets game? Like, I know you're not that into sports."
Whoa, Dad's hanging out, like making new adult friendships in the adult age.
And so, and my wife, as sometimes happens, chimed in before I could reply. She goes, Neil loves a Mets game. Food, beer.
She brokered the deal.
Hanging out.
She brokered the deal.
Yeah. And I was like, I do indeed like to just be, I don't care. It's low stakes. It's great. And so we got a little group together to go to this Mets game. It was pouring buckets. And we were like, is this game going to happen? Put on the old yellow raincoat, got a few drinks beforehand, and
like Paddington Bear. I like how you're like, we put on the old yellow, like Paddington Bear. Go on.
I really did, Ollie, and it's the Chekhov's gun of this story, because I'm gonna show you something in a second. But so we get there, and it's a little rain delay, and it's a crummy night, but we're having a good time. We're drinking beers, we're eating some Shake Shack.
Nice.
We're watching a little baseball. They're playing the Pirates. Who cares, Yeah. And as the game goes on, rain stops, rain starts again. We're kind of like walking around, having a good time. And, the Mets were losing, like, pretty badly. Late in the game. It's pouring on and off. Nobody's there. And yet these security guards are, like, so heavily guarding these primo seats that nobody's in. So one of our friends makes a break for it and goes alone, and then we're like, what are we doing? And then by 5 minutes later, we're all down there. We're like in the front,
Okay.
So they start to do the like 8th inning karaoke thing or whatever. And what do we have that's better? We got nothing else going on. The Mets are losing. It's raining. Who cares? And I'm like, oh.
What is the 8th inning karaoke thing?
I don't know. You know how like they do different things at baseball games, like during lulls. I imagine when they're taking a commercial break or something, they try to keep you entertained in the stands. I don't know. Something's happening.
Dodgers would actually do a beach ball, but that we always thought that was a weird anomaly. But go on, karaoke thing. Okay.
So, yes, I'm 40, but I can still have fun. I can be silly. I can mix it up. I decide I'm going to get on this Jumbotron. So, I tried to get on the Jumbotron. And I didn't. And I was disappointed.
And how did we try?
I just pulled out all the moves, man. I just, and much to my chagrin, wasn't happening. You know,
So
they did
you
not.
like were dancing like a mascot would.
Sure, and
Literally, what you just did reminded me of when Homer Simpson was the mascot for this the baseball team for the whatever the Springfield Radioactives or whatever.
we'll have to
Yeah,
have our intern pull the clip.
yeah. I haven't seen
Isaac,
him in a
get
while.
on it, Isaac.
We'll find it. We'll find it
Yeah.
because that's exactly what he did. Like the whole. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you pulled some moves. It didn't
So
happen.
not happening.
Okay.
About 10 minutes later, my friend Ben sitting next to me, he goes, "Hey Neil, Jess's cousin, his wife's cousin, just texted him. Who's that idiot standing next to you dancing?" And he goes, "I think you were just on TV." And I was like, "What?"
Dude.
Yeah. And then a few minutes after that, I get this text from Eli Cohen, who I haven't seen in about 10 years. Shout out
No.
Tufts, small school
Whoa.
in Medford, Massachusetts. He said, "Don't know if this is still you, but if it's Neil, I just saw you dancing at City Field stands on the SNY broadcast. Hope you're well. Looks like you are."
Tell
Well,
me
here's the
you have this, like, someone recorded this,
here's
right?
the thing. Here's the problem. I don't have MLB.TV.
I do.
I don't watch sports.
I have
don't care.
MLB.
My friends friends from the 90s night in the polos, those guys, they're good at computers. They usually know how to get videos. I said, "Hey, guys, I was just on TV. You got to get this broadcast." They're like, "It's not up. Like, there's no way we're getting this. You know, like it's a regional sports network. There's all the passwords and like no one cares about like the full broadcast. It doesn't live anywhere for an audience to replay." So, I thought SNY. I've heard of that.
Hmm.
Now, before I moved to North Jersey, in the third grade, I had two best friends, David Chait and Josh Wahlberg. Josh Wahlberg and I, because of social media, Facebook, the like, we'll reconnect every 5 or 10 years, go have dinner, catch up. You know, we really haven't been in each other's lives since third grade. But I said, I think Josh works at SNY, and I went on the old Google machine, and LinkedIn said he's still there, and I said, "Hey man, what's up? I, I I think I was just on TV. Any chance you could pull that footage?"
I can't believe you, like, waited this long to tell me. We have a whole conversation. We check in. Oh, God. Keep going. Keep
So
going.
so he goes, "Hey Neil, it's like great to hear from you. I'm not working tonight, but let me look tomorrow when I'm back at work. He said, "Do you know what time in the game?" And I said, late in the game. I said like seventh or eighth inning. At the time I wasn't sure, because I was paying such close attention to the game. And 12 hours later, I get a Dropbox
Whoa.
clip from him,
Whoa.
and he said, "Oh wow, they kept you on for quite a while." And
Christ, dude. I can't believe this.
Can you see-
No way.
you see this?
What
All right,
what's
Here we
the
go.
look in your eye?
here we go.
The whole thing for the Pirates. And didn't get the Vulture nickname. No, that was Phil Regan with the Dodgers. It was 1960, the year they won it all. Elway had that year. That's a rally dance. Straight from Brooklyn.
It's really just that mad dog game face you have, like, you're doing the dances, but it's like you knew. I don't, it's like almost like a possession. And this is coming from someone who's been around between casting and theater school, you know, you notice like in musicals and the professional dancers, it's like, yeah, the body has to do the moves, right? But the facial gesture and like there's a degree of kind of, arrogance and thought that I don't know, like it's like, wow, it's crazy. I'll tell you, it is. You're driving past a car accident, and this time you're really slowing down. You're like, what is going on? What is going on in your brain? Who is that idiot dancing next to you? Did they really say that? Did they really say that?
Well, not the commentators, but my friend's wife's cousin did. But it's funny.
Sure.
My buddies, when I sent them the clip, they said, they're making fun of you, right? The commentators are like, they're laughing at you, and I was like, yeah, I don't care. I don't even like baseball. I was just trying to get on the Jumbotron. Who cares?
Yeah.
And that is being a dad.
Yeah,
Dance
no.
like no one's watching, and then maybe they'll watch on
That
SNY.
is, it's funny. Like I feel like, did you ever see the original Office with Ricky Gervais?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God!
I don't speak British.
Yeah, there is an epic scene where and he talks about this after the fact, where he just like, he's Ricky Gervais, he's the guy, the manager, and he's obnoxious, and he's just being a braggart and saying, oh yeah, I can dance, you want to see me make my moves, and he proceeds to go into a dance, and Ricky Gervais not only cannot dance, but he embraces the fact that he can't dance to a degree that's beyond, and he's very serious and stuff. And the dry sense of humor of the British Office really worked well, where people are just like, what is going on? Just taking this in. And they asked him later, like, what did you do for that dance? And he's like, I let it all go. I lost all control, and it just came out, and that, but there was something in there, like it's what's behind the eyes, the sheer confidence, it's, you never, here's the basic thing is this, and this should be revisited for generations, I think. But you clearly never broke character. I mean, it's obviously an edited clip. I don't know the full length of your dance, but my God.
No, that's the. Oh, you're saying, yeah. I was dancing for longer than the camera was on me, if that's your point.
Sure. But yeah, you really, man, you went for it. You definitely went for it. What inning was this? 8th?
Yeah, it was the 8th inning.
Yeah, that's
Mets lost, by the way. So
they're doing pretty good this season, aren't they?
I don't know. I don't follow sports.
Classic. My wife's a Phillies fan, so I have some idea of the NL East. I think they're doing okay.
Ooh, the Knicks game was going on where they won that series at 90s night, and that was kind of exciting, especially being in basketball jerseys. Myself being in the Looney Tunes fictional basketball jersey, and my wife being in the 1996 Dennis Rodman.
It's a look. It's a
Hey,
look.
can I tell you something?
I think you can. We're on a podcast.
I would say she wouldn't like me sharing this, but she doesn't listen to this podcast. That jersey, my wife, that was like from when she was like 10. She still has it. Still fits.
That's cool. Hey, there you go. What's wrong?
It was
with
very
that?
oversized. She's not, teeny tiny. She's an adult woman.
Yeah. Well, it's the 90s. Baggy was in. Baggy was the look.
And it's in again. Baggy's back. Baby.
Yeah, Baggy is, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. It is back.
Yeah.
Baggy is back.
Hey, I want to segue-ish. We're talking about sports. Let's come back to the sports and the dad of it all. So you heard of this guy, Patrick Mahomes? Apparently he's somebody.
Yeah.
So he had been getting some flack commentary on, oftentimes it's people judging women's bodies, but they put up this photo the other day of him with his family golfing, and a lot of people were hating. Did you see this picture?
Let's take a look.
Okay.
Always happy to take a look. I have this
Yeah, take a look.
conversation before.
Take a look. So there he is. Patrick
Yeah,
Mahomes.
yeah,
And he was getting a lot of hate for the
yeah,
dad bod. People
yeah,
were saying this
yeah,
isn't an athlete. He's out of shape. He's not taking care of himself. And the backlash to the backlash is people are like, I think he looks great. And you know
yeah.
what? He actually is in incredible shape athletically, and you don't know anything. You
Yeah.
haven't seen his blood work. You haven't seen how quickly he can run down the field, or maybe you have if you watch
Yeah.
sports. I don't.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? Let's break down Mahomes' dad bod here.
I've actually had this conversation with my son of all things, and literally about Mahomes' dad bod. And I think that there's something about, and I saw this on a post the other day, and I'm going to use this word, but Neil, I'm going to need you to be my dictionary because I don't know much. But body dysmorphia. Can you define dysmorphia for me? Because I think I
Now,
get the
I'm not going to
gist.
look it up. I'm going to go off the dome.
The dome.
Body dysmorphia, I believe, is when you see a different image of your body when you look in the mirror or when
Sure.
you picture your body than is your actual physical corporeal reality. Is
Yeah,
that
oh, I
fair?
like that corporeal. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And it was actually interesting. It was posted on a very, very apropos account for us, Midlife Male. And the guy's this really ripped, super in shape, middle-aged dude. Actually friends with Bobby Maximus. That ought to tell you how in shape this guy is. And there's a picture of him working out, and, like he doesn't look like he's posing, right? And so when you look at a Mahomes and stuff, you're just like, oh, this guy's like, he's the GOAT. He makes a ton of money. He's got, I guess, 3 Super Bowl rings. Is that right? Jesus Christ. I think. Or 2. I don't know. But he's got them.
We'll
He's
have
got
Isaac fact check it.
he's got rings, you know what I mean? He is a champion. He's a clear champion, right? And I mean, from probably real experts will tell you he's a phenomenal quarterback to of the highest order. Of the highest order. It's almost like Steph Curry. Did he change the game? He plays it in a different way. He plays it in a different way, and it works. But it's funny. Like, I think in this era of visual based social media and people constantly being able to create and sculpt their perfect image of themselves, and like post a picture, let me look at it, let me delete it. Like, yeah, he totally gets shaped. And also what's funny too is like, and I personally go through this because it's like I'm someone who people have seen me in a certain way, and then the last couple of years I look different. And people will be like, oh my God, you look thin. After a while, people are like, are you okay? You look sick, and then I start to get into a thing of like, oh, I looked really good before. What am I doing wrong now? And as I was getting more and more in shape, I kind of like got bigger. Your body kind of changes and stuff like that. Well, my doctor was always like, no, you're fine. So you look at him and you're like, dude, like, I don't know. It's like, is it a bad angle? Is the shirt not flattering? The sad part is I kind of know this stuff because I look at my own, social media content and and judge it in that way too. And it's like, I don't think all the work that he's done is suddenly going to go away if he's continuing to play. We all know athletes retire and they don't necessarily stay in shape, but it's funny. I remember even talking to Bobby Maximus, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm worried about the end of the year. I'm not gonna be able to do my workouts." And he goes, "Have you been doing your stuff all year?" And he goes, "Don't sweat a week or 2 of vacation. That's not gonna go away. What you need to sweat is not coming back when it's time to come back." So, I just think it sucks. Like we don't look like, especially with my son. It's like he loves anime. Like no one looks like that. No one looks like that. It's not feasible. It's not like normal, like I don't know. And it's funny because you women bear the brunt of this. I got a lot of like feelings on this one, Neil. It hurts. It hurts. I feel for him. I mean, dude, that guy, please. He's fine. I mean, I hope he stays competitive, but I don't care how he looks on a golf shirt on a windy day. You know?
Any advice for how Patrick Mahomes maybe should handle the haters?
I mean, dude, I don't think the last thing Mahomes needs is advice from me. Dude, I mean, I'll just say that, you know what? I'm going to just say nothing but love. I love his State Farm commercials. That one with Andy Reid is amazing. And I constantly root for him. Mostly because I got humbled as a St. Louis Rams fan by Tom Brady. And nothing necessarily against Tom Brady, but I'm absolutely happy to entertain a new GOAT. Yeah. You know what's weird, too? Oh, this is weird. He's from Texas, actually, and supposedly he's a fan of Whataburger, which is like my burger chain nemesis. Because if you live in Texas, all the Texas people are like, Whataburger rules, and it doesn't rule. It's not very good. That's a hot take. People will be like, get out of here, you Californian. But yeah, I would just say this, like, nothing to do with body image, but Patrick, you're better than Whataburger. You don't need to eat Whataburger.
What's your burger place of choice?
Fast food? In-N-Out Burger, I think, it's cheap, and there's a local chain here called P. Terry's. It's basically like In-N-Out. I like those too. My son loves Shake Shack. Shake Shack's obviously pricey, but it's quality as well. You know what I mean? I remember Bobby Maximus. I'm talking about Bobby a lot lately. I got Bobby on the brain.
You miss him. We miss Bobby.
We miss Bobby. But I remember Bobby was like at an airport, and he was, because what I love about Bobby is that he doesn't just do workouts. He talks nutrition all the time. And he's like, he did a thing. He got a lettuce wrap at Shake Shack. And I actually recently tried the lettuce wrap at Shake Shack. And it's actually, if I say this to all the dads, if you're a dad who your kid is like, can we get something after school? I'm that parent. My wife's like, I can't believe you do that. I'm like, yeah, get him stuff after school. It's how I was raised too. But we were near a Shake Shack, and I was like, you want to get Shake Shack? He's like, fine. He gets his burger. He gets a shake. He gets fries. It's like hardcore, right? I was like, I'm kind of hungry. I could eat. I'm going to give the lettuce wrap a try. It was a good way for me to go, well, I'm not going to just sit here and not eat. I'm going to eat something, but, negotiate it so it's just kind of better off for me. I certainly can't be messing with the fries and the shake. That's insanity. And I have to say, and all my burger choices reflect this, they're all places where the quality of the ingredients are good enough where you can enjoy it lettuce wrapped. So that's my take on any burger, any fast food burger place I go to is I'll go eat there if it's good enough to try it lettuce wrapped, because that means the produce is good. They're using kind of a higher quality ingredient. Yeah, becoming a food snob. I went from cheap eats to like more like just now I like to eat clean as much as I can, because no one can eat clean 24/7. It's impossible. There you go.
Maybe the next iteration of the show needs to be cheap and clean.
Well, you just are freaking eating at home. It's like, hey, I'm back at the grocery store. That's what it is. Like dining out is counterintuitive to that in every normal, realistic way. It's like, no, go out and enjoy it, but can't
it's
be
like
living off
cheap,
that.
tasty, healthy. You get two.
Yeah. Tasty, healthy. Tasty, healthy. I know. Cheap is
Not cheap. Not cheap. Tasty, healthy.
Perishable. I mean, here's the thing. It's a quick turnaround. You know what I mean? You can't buy a box of lettuce and let that sit in the closet for maybe, or the pantry. The closet sounds weird. Do you keep food in the closet? No, it's the pantry. I guess that's the difference. Closet is for clothes, pantry's for food. Cleared that up.
You'd think you'd put clothes in the pantry. Pants. Pantry.
What's your fast food? Do your kids eat fast food? What's going on with the Padover family? What do you guys
Yeah,
eat?
we've got a thing. So I grew up, eating crap, as many of us did in the 90s. The
Yeah.
music was great. The nutrition was less so.
Yeah.
We try to be a little healthier for our children. However, we like to indulge. We will go to a place my kids know it as Organic Farm Market, and that's so that when they talk about it when we come back from vacation, we aren't totally shamed. It's the place with the big M and the yellow arches. We call it Organic Farm Market. They can get a Happy Meal there. They can get
Touche.
a toy. They can get a six piece. They can get a fry. They can get apple slices. Occasionally, I don't know if they do milkshakes there. They've got something, some sort of like Minute Maid, lemonade. So anyway, shout out to Organic Farm Market. We go there on vacations. My kids know. Sometimes they'll say, "Oh, can we go? Can we go to Organic Farm Market?" And we're like, "We're not on vacation. Sorry." Where it's just a Tuesday.
Literally call McDonald's, or you have your kids call McDonald's Organic Farm Market.
What's McDonald's?
Thank you. That's fine. And I'm telling you my little story of your Organic Farm Market. So, for a long time, from 0 to 3, we never fed Heath like fast food. I mean, it kind of didn't need to. There was the whole formula thing, and then baby, whatever. And then when we moved to Austin, we had to, drive and make concessions on food, right? And lunches would be like a a organic farm market. Excuse me, an organic farm market. So I think we went to one. And what was really handy about it was Playland, because we're in the car. He needs to get out, kind of play around, whatever. Do the things that a 3-year-old might need to do. So eventually, several days later, we make the big move. We're back in Austin. We're in Austin, and, maybe it's like a year later or something. And we're driving down this road. And my son, he's just like, "Oh my God, look, it's that same restaurant we went to when we were driving and we're moving here." And it just dawned on us that he didn't realize that it's not the largest chain, but this one of the largest fast food chains in the world. He didn't realize there was more than one. I thought that was amazing. That was some real good food parenting. Now he eats Trader Joe's frozen stuff all the time. It's really funny with his generation, like all his friends, stuff like that. They all trash fast food. They all think of it as like, oh, that's like one day he's like, oh, Taco Bell gives you diarrhea. Like, wow, it sucks. Oh, Taco Bell's like the worst. You'll get diarrhea. And I was like, have you ever had it? Like, I see where you're coming from, but I feel like there's a lot of like shaming of fast food. Now, he does go to an elite private school. In fact, he just got invited to a birthday dinner at a steakhouse. And I haven't even been to this steakhouse, Neil. This text came in this morning, and I was like, yeah, he should be able to go. And I was like, I wish I could have gone to ALC. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. But it's funny. I think this generation is kind of little, and granted, he does go to the school or whatever, but yeah, he doesn't really do the fast food. Although here and there, he's starting to find fast food that he likes. He is into Raising Cane's. He drank that Kool-Aid. And then Raising Cane's, by the way, have you had it? Has the fam had it? Do they have it out there?
No, I think we
Big
would
Apple?
only probably encounter it at a airport in the South. I don't
Yeah.
know what. Yeah.
It's expensive. I'm shocked. If you go to Raising Cane's, you get 6 strips, which is a lot of chicken, but it's still a combo meal. 6 strips, fries. It comes with a piece of bread and a soda with tax. $17. 17. That's nuts to me, because it's it's I mean, it's not like processed chicken McNugget, but it's still like fast food. It's got the smell, that fryer smell. So recently, literally over the weekend, we were like, "Hey Heath, want to try Popeyes? Maybe we'll try the Popeyes out." So we got him some Popeyes, and he actually liked it. And my wife was actually saying it's not that much cheaper. I think it is cheaper, but yeah, it's crazy. It's the fast food thing. It's really not that cheap. It's obviously, I don't know. There's something about that. I really do not eat. Like when I think about In-N-Out Burger and P. Terry's, and then the smell I get from like a Popeyes, it's like night and day. You know, it's night and day. And yeah. What's your order at the old organic market, World Market?
Oh man, it's been a minute. I mean, I used to get the old quarter pounder with cheese.
You
Oh, yeah.
are that is the best burger. That's the best burger by a mile.
Years ago, it's funny. For some reason, this has come up with my kids. Like, so, I don't know why I've told them this story, but I remember when the King Kong movie came out. I think I was in I was in high school, and I went to Burger King with. They had like a triple burger, the King Kong burger, and me and my friend Paul Krasolnik were like, "Yeah, we're gonna go eat the King Kong burger." And I just remember afterwards feeling like, oh, I hate myself. Like this deep shame as a, I don't know, 15-year-old kid be like, why did I eat 3 patties? That was
Like
too
3
much.
Whopper-sized patties.
I don't, yeah, whatever
Yeah.
I'll have to look up
No,
the
that's
King Kong
vicious.
burger. Go back and look what that was. I will say at City Field when I had Shake Shack on that rainy night we discussed earlier, I was impressed to see, and maybe this is a thing they do. The line was a little bit longer because it was all cooked to order. They didn't have, burgers sitting there. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's not like, all right, we're just keeping them warm, so it took a little longer because they were cooking them each order. And I thought that was cool.
It's funny. There was a time where you'd be like, well, Shake, as they expanded, you're like, Shake Shack's good, but it's expensive, right? Now what's happened is all fast food's a lot pricier than you remember, right? But it's still that quality and that smell. Like Shake Shack, like it's funny, man. I'll tell you, like I'm once again channeling Bobby Maximus. But if Bobby Maximus eats it and it's fast and it's convenient and you're not eating it all the time, it's kind of worth it. Like I don't know. It's whew, dude, fast food's brutal. I've become an elitist, Neil. I will tell you this though. If it's between McDonald's or Burger King, I'd rather not. I will not eat. If we're at an airport, this is when this stuff happens. Airport. Ugh, this is what I have to eat, right? These are my options. If it's just the Burger King, I'll be like, I'll wait. I can't do it. I think Burger King is legitimately... Is it the worst? I don't know. I mean, haven't had Jack in the Box since 2010. That was really bad. The Wendy's hamburger scared me. I don't know why. I was like, why is it square? What's wrong? Yeah, I don't know. I've had my fair share of regional culty fast food burgers, the Culvers, the Freddy's, if you will. They're all kind of fast food-ish, I kind of stick to In-N-Out. For the money, you can't beat it. You can't beat it for the money.
We just lost Burger King as a sponsor, so
I'm willing to consider the chicken tenders. They came out in the 90s and they were part of now you gotta understand, back in the day, I had all my orders. Burger King was my favorite after school burger. I ate fast food every day after school. Every day after school.
And you were just like, one day I will host a program about exactly what I'm doing now.
Dude, it's kind of funny when people would be like, oh, like, are you a chef or something? And I'm like, no, I just eat a lot all the time. Like and this was an era when people weren't, most kids would be like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? I don't care. And I was like, oh no.
You put the 10,000 hours in eating
Yeah.
cheaply.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Basically, yeah. I put it in college. A lot of eating out. A lot of eating out. That's what I would do. That's what I did. That's what I did. Burger
Ollie, I
King.
want to transition us, not artfully at all.
Yeah.
I want to move on to toys. They're talking about this new thing called AI, artificial intelligence. Not the Steven Spielberg movie with Haley Joel Osment and Jude Law, which was good, but the idea of generative content, and it's making its way into children's programming. It's making its way into children's toys. And so I was on my dad news kick, prepping for the show, and I found this new toy, and I'm going to share it with you. And we're going to watch this video. Take a look.
Imagine a vanished pizza, two hungry detectives, and a kitchen full of clues.
This isn't the same old story. Meet Poe, the AI story bear.
Chloe loved adventures, and her loyal companion Dawson was a shaggy dog with big, kind eyes that made him seem strangely human.
Poe makes up wildly original stories completely from scratch using kid-safe AI technology.
Ooh, let's do an adventure. Did a robot. Okay.
You choose the ideas, then Poe creates elegantly crafted stories that you can save and listen to.
Out of the forest came a giant robot. The unicorn is our friend. We have to protect her.
That story was awesome.
The future of storytelling is here. Poe, the AI story bear from Skyrocket Toys.
Is that thing real? Is it real? Is that
Yeah, it's
real?
not satire. Yeah, that's a real product. CNET had a whole thing about it. So they were like, there's a review by a parent that was like, it's kind of like the Teddy Ruxpin, except instead of cassettes, it's just
Yeah.
AI technology. Now, I'm like, okay, am I being am I catastrophizing here? Am I like, oh, you young people and your technology, or
Yeah.
is that insane?
Okay, so here's the big thing. I have no problem with the AI story part. I do have a problem with the bear. I was like, is this real? I at first I thought it was a joke. I thought it was an absolute SNL parody because the bear is scary. The bear, like the way its mouth moved too fast, something in the eyes, like crazy eyes killer. It looked evil. I'm waiting for that thing to, freaking come alive and kill. Like, I'm like, no. And it's also AI. You're like, wait, is it learning? Is it adapting, But then I looked at the kids in the commercial and I was like, damn, they're real siblings. That takes real casting. If you're doing a sketch comedy, that's a diet. I've spent enough time in casting to be like, I don't know. And I have worked on kids commercials too. There is something about kids commercials tend to be satire, especially when you don't care, like I've worked on kids commercials where like this casting director would be like, no, I don't believe them. And I'm like, they're 9-year-olds who are playing. Like, no one believes that any of this stuff matters. It's a toy. No one cares about the toy. It's just, this is all just materialism. And, like, there's no real joy that's going to come from, the laser tag gun. Like, there's no life-changing thing. It's just like an impulse buy. That was something, it was amazing. I thought the commercial was made by AI. Now, that would make sense. Because that bear, the bear was frightening as hell. It almost felt like the thing was on speed play too. I was like, I was on edge the whole time.
Well, and I'm curious too, like, would you have let Heath have a teddy bear like that if that was on the market when he was younger?
Yeah, probably, yeah. I mean, look, I remember we had this, like, computer thing, and it was, we were just talking about this the other day. It was like a laptop, and the laptop, you would enter, like, a couple keywords, and it would spit out a little story. Now, it wasn't anamorphic, you know what I mean? It couldn't walk around. You're like, oh, it's a laptop. It's going to spit back things at you. But it would kind of like, you would name the dog. You would name, the computer thing would be like, okay, what's your child's name? What's your pet's name? And it would spit out these like letters, like, Dear Heath, I love you. Love, Frankie. Like that's what it would do. So we kind of were dipping into it. Like, now, could it come up with other iterations? I think it had maybe 4 stories. I think the dog would write a couple letters to Heath. Maybe Heath would write back, but that was it. So, there was no, like, wasn't learning. There was no exponential, nothing exponential about this thing. So, but yeah, like, look, here's the other thing too, is like, it doesn't matter what you buy. People are going to buy stuff for your kid. Like, and we were not the people who'd be like, oh yeah, no, he won't play with this, or we're selective about our toys. I remember I had a friend of mine who actually worked on Cheap Eats, and this is when all the Paw Patrol stuff came out. Remember, they were like, there was like something on Medium. On Medium, they were saying how Paw Patrol sets up kids for, an overreach of police authority, And without getting too into all that, I remember the field producer from Cheap Eats, she's like, yeah, I'm not letting my kids watch that shit. And I was like, seriously? It's fucking Paw Patrol. Like, it's a German Shepherd cop, I don't know how many seeds. I'm just trying to get him to not get in my business. You know what I mean? You want to watch this? Fine. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, I would probably have Skynet playing in the next room right now. Honestly, be like, someone gave it to us. Can't be that bad.
So there is speaking of AI and kids, I'm going to this town hall tomorrow with our district superintendent.
This is very responsible stuff here. You're going to a town hall.
I'm a pillar of the community, Ollie.
Yeah,
all right?
yeah. Jesus.
I don't know if I told you this. I am now married to the PTA president of our public school here in Brooklyn. So
that's big.
Kind of a big deal.
That's a big. Yeah.
So there's this program that they rolled out called Amira. Beautiful name. And our daughter was telling us about it. She's in the first grade, and she's like, "Oh yeah, we have to get on Amira. We have to log on." And we're like, "What is this?" It's an AI reading app distributed by, I think the parent company is Houghton Mifflin. A lot of parents, speaking of Mifflin, they're miffed. They're pissed off because it's this private company that has a contract with the city, and they're using it to, they're saying, help teach reading, help kind of be like a tool for the teachers. But so it'll talk to Cece and it'll generate this story on screen, and Cece has to read it back, and then it'll kind of give her a score, and it records the kids' voices, and it stores the kids' voices and uses it for data, and the company assures us, don't worry, we only keep the data for a year, and then we delete it. Do we believe them? Yeah. I saw what happened with 23andMe. We went bankrupt, and someone just bought them, and it's like, and everyone was like, you should delete your data from 23andMe, and so I did. It was interesting though while it lasted. And so anyway, we're going to this town hall to kind of, there's no opt-out. Parents, your kids are forced to use the Amira. There's kind of like a few studies, they say, that help with reading scores. But a lot of teachers have said if your kid is a proficient reader, it actually slows them down, and they're better off going the old book, paper, sitting in a corner reading, that will actually challenge them more. And here's the thing, I'm looking at that teddy bear, I'm looking at this Amira app, and I'm like, are there like people with PhDs in education who are actually studying this, or is it just people trying to make a quick buck going, we can get you kids stories really fast and reading score? And Houghton Mifflin's like laughing all the way to the bank. Remember them? They made textbooks. Anyway, now they're making...
remember it. Yeah, I was like, part of me is like, that's a McGraw-Hill. Yeah, these are some tried and true legacy textbook publishers. I'd like to put my trust into them, but What did they do for me? I mean, did I do that well at school? Did I you know what I do
You
know is
all know your SAT scores, Ollie.
yeah, I had to buy all. The only truth is this: you're gonna buy that book. Should have bought them used. You know what? Can you buy a used AI bear? That would be my advice. Don't buy brand new textbooks. It's a waste. I wasted my parents' money getting that brand new textbook. It seemed
Right.
okay, but that was one of the first of many poor life lessons that I think the academic world and maybe society set us up with. It's like, oh, it's got to be brand new and shiny. Come on, you're not gonna keep your Spanish book from 8th grade. It's irrelevant. Should have bought it used.
Let me ask you another question. Do you think that all technological do you think that all technological advancements are kind of inevitable and we're just fighting this fruitless fight, and that since the beginning of time, like the written word, people were really upset because they were like, we're going to lose oral tradition. And then the printing press, people were like, we're going to lose the tradition of, transcribing things, people and calligraphy. And then film came and they were like, oh, well, we're going to lose the tradition of theater. And then the talkies came and they were like, we're going to lose the tradition of silent films. And then television came and they were like, film is dead. And then radio came and radio came and then television came because TV killed the radio star. And then social media came and then killed YouTube, killed TV. And then podcasting came. It's like, doesn't it all, we're all eating it all,
Yeah.
We're eating the lowbrow, we're eating the highbrow. Does any of it matter? Like, are we being too, worried, scared, when really it's just like, yeah, this is just what happens in a society. We invent new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think people inevitably are perhaps justifiably afraid of massive change. That's a normal human reaction to it. And I think we're always going to be forever in a situation where we're striving to push ahead, but no one really knows where we're going except that we're just trying to accomplish what's never been accomplished before. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. No one ever said it's all for the best, but it's also relentless too. Because I mean, look, it's kind of like it. To me, it's some of it is the ultimate commodity, which is time. We're all on borrowed time. So if you're saying if this will save you time or this can deliver something faster, then good luck getting in the way of that. Yeah, it's weird. Like it's funny with school and kids and stuff like that, and like, oh, what's the best way for them to learn? Because like, that's when you're like, well, it's our kids and we should be extra vigilant and cautious and stuff like that too. Like, look, I mean, I'm someone who's always going to be like, oh yeah, no, get your vaccines and stuff. But there's like some schools, like the Waldorfs and stuff like that, and they don't do what they do. And the other day we were talking about it, and we heard that they actually, for whatever reasons, there were some benefits to their fringe thinking or whatever. Again, and I endorse nothing, but it's just, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess part of it is like no one's really exactly sure of what we're doing. Like it's the hottest thing I heard lately that I think is so true. I think you would agree with this. Is like you always hope that there's some authority out there that's like, we know what's best and we're gonna set it straight. But the truth is like, and this guy was explaining it as he's looking at his career, and he goes, listen, I've worked at Fortune 100 companies and startups. And he goes, everyone thinks, oh, these guys have got to figure it out because it's all dumpster fires. Like he had a very, he was like, don't believe that these guys or anyone has kind of figured it out. So I think to a degree, you should kind of be a little skeptical about kind of everything, I'm a bit more trusting, but now I'm kind of like, as I certainly like work for anything or any kind of organization, you're kind of like, let's see how much they know or what they're doing, because everyone wants to kind of like create this sense of order, and it's insanity to accept the fact that maybe we're all living in a little bit of chaos. Actually a lot of chaos. Maybe it's complete chaos. Like, remember that thing? There was some thing they were building in Germany, and they were like, we're gonna like split a molecule or a quark or something, and then that was gonna be the end of the universe or something like that. I don't know. It was some science-y thing. Like, you never know. You never know. It is crazy though that you have no choice in it. Like, if you have to do this thing. I don't know. It's crazy. That's you know what? You should attend that meeting. You
I'll
let
be
me know
there.
how that
I'll
goes.
tell you something. My wife can't come, so I have to bring the kids. And she was like, "Do not bring tablets. They cannot see our children watching screens while parents are complaining about this AI." And I was like, "That's very, very funny." So we're gonna bring little coloring books, little things for them to draw.
Oh, yeah, I guess you could do that. I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
there is that part too.
So to be continued. I will fill you in on the results of that town hall next week.
I can't believe that teddy bear robot's like legitimately real. It was scary. It was a scary one,
I think we're gonna leave it there.
I think that's good.